Good morning, everyone. I hope that you can hear me well. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar hosted by two technology partners, Salesforce and Antavo, with focus on loyalty and loyalty management. Before we're going to start, just a quick housekeeping rules. Please, we will have a Q&A session at the end. You have an opportunity to type your questions into the box. So please do it so, and later on we will pick it up, and some of them we will answer live. If you don't get any answer, no worries. We will get back to you on a one-to-one basis with your questions. So Antavo is here as a loyalty management expert, and Salesforce marketing platform is powering an engagement transformation between the world's leading brands and their customer. And why those two companies together, you might ask, right? Loyalty management platform and marketing platform. Well, the role of marketing department is changing as loyalty programs become the connective tissue that drives the customer experience. And marketers used to be responsible for positioning products, crafting messages, creating ads, and posting on social media, for instance. But many are now switching to manage the customer journey and sustain those who are already engaged with the brand. And if the future of marketing lies in a radical change where marketing becomes the bridge builder across different experiences, from the first touch through the sales, customer service support, it's really essential to create a shared view of the customer across an organization's business units. And this is where we see a great synergy between Antavo Loyalty Management Platform and Salesforce Marketing Platform to create a really comprehensive loyalty experience. In today's agenda, we are going to share thought leadership about loyalty in general, loyalty challenges, and best practices. We will talk about why it's important to measure loyalty and related campaigns, because if you don't measure it, you can't really improve it. And so before we start, just a quick introduction of today's presenters. My name is Michal. You can see me here. I'm alive. I'm a leading business practice in Central and Eastern Europe region focused on B2C marketing platform at Salesforce. We are having Victoria as well, our data specialist from Salesforce, who is going to talk at the end about difficulties to measure overall loyalty and how you can understand your data better. We are having our loyalty experts from Antavo, of course. Andy, can you do a quick introduction, please?
Sure. So I'm Andy, one of the co-founders of Antavo, and with me I have Jörn Rögler, our VP of Strategy and Insights, sitting at our German home office as well. I guess everyone knows Salesforce. We are a little bit younger and nimble with our 50-plus awesome colleagues. So let me just do a really short and sweet intro on who we are and what we believe in. Antavo is a software service data-driven omnichannel loyalty solution. We help our clients to engage with their customers while they are purchasing in their different channels and also outside their buying cycle, so they will come back more and purchase more often. I saw in the webinar registration list that lots of you are coming from the retail sector, which is great because we mostly work with global retail clients to solve their retention challenge. So we did our best to showcase the most relevant trends happening in the loyalty industry today. We strongly believe that old-school purchase-based loyalty programs are the past, and they don't build customer loyalty anymore. And we really want to invest and disrupt the loyalty industry and fight the discount-driven culture with our technology. Michal, back to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Andy. So the first section, right? Overall, the loyalty, the point of view. I'll try to give you actually my point of view, because the loyalty is discussed quite a lot, especially today. And probably it is important to first understand what the idea of customer loyalty is. For me, it is more than just a customer that returns to buy something from your company a second or third time. It is a customer essentially making a conscious decision to spend a higher amount of their budget at one retailer over its competitors, often based on something unique that particular brand does. And to be honest, loyalty used to be pretty simple, and most companies are well aware of the importance of it. So while it is always important to bring in new business, your stable and returning customers are the ones who keep a business healthy and alive. And the statistics shows it too. As you probably know, existing customers are more valuable. They spend on average of 67% more than new customers. So it is really no surprise then that companies are constantly looking for ways to inspire loyalty in their customers, and customer loyalty is becoming increasingly important, yet more difficult to stimulate, especially in the times we are currently live in. So what is the challenge, right? So I truly believe it comes from the attempted commodification of loyalty. It became very transactional. So loyalty is no longer differentiated or strategic, just another box to check, one company has it, I will have it too. And too often companies encourage a loyalty program and then neglect their customers on the more personal level. And I'm likely to switch brands if I'm treated like a number or transaction instead of an individual. Even if a rewards-based system offers me something tangible, it does not make me feel wanted. And moreover, according to eMarketer, what I found, 77% of rewards-based loyalty programs fail within 2 first years, and 89 have a negative social media sentiment. So there is lots of to lose. I did a little exercise, to be honest, and counted how many plastic loyalty cards we have in our household. And with only those I could find, the number is 11. I can tell you that I have never used around 7 of them. And why? Because after signing up, I have never heard back from those companies, no communication, no onboarding, encouragement, or explanation of benefits. I can get, and it goes on and on. Actually, can you guess how many loyalty programs in average is per person? Just out of curiosity, type your guess into the chat and we will tell you at the end according to our research. So even I'm not a loyalty management expert, the beauty is that every single person can have a hands-on experience as consumer and get an understanding, what is working and what is not. So you're probably familiar and might have already seen a so-called 4-dimensional loyalty framework, right? I got inspired by that with a slightly different approach, reflecting a loyalty from my point of view as a customer. So those are not very sophisticated definitions, but it captures nicely how I think about brands and loyalty. We've got one slide missing. So anyway, I couldn't think better example of captive audience than telco operators, for instance. So as long as everything's worked well, I keep using chosen brand with some of the benefits from time to time, but honestly, nothing less or nothing more. So if I can get a better deal, I will switch. So overall, nothing is happening here, and I'm not really rewarded, to be loyal for many years. So I really like my brand, so-called Friends with Benefits. This is the quadrant top left hand. And Friend with Benefits, it's still transactional, but it's purposeful, right? So I don't have a particular strong feeling for them, but they are so convenient with a good service, and they give me exactly what is needed. So for instance, it can be Amazon Prime, American Express credit card, Starbucks. That this is a great example how we can define Friend with Benefits. If you go a bit more to the right, so you realize that there is something so-called like a family. It is a big statement, but I feel in this way about Marriott's hotel chain, for instance. I do travel well. I used to travel very often. I'm sitting in my bedroom, as you can see, for the last 3 months. But when I needed to book a hotel, it was like an autopilot. Instantly, go to Marriott app, checking it out as a first place, knowing my preferences. Great online and offline experience. So it really feels like a family for me. Same goes with Emirates, for instance. But it is definitely not about collecting miles or any other perks, as I'm not a regular flyer to long exotic destination. But it is about how I feel about the entire experience with them. So from the issuing a ticket, checking my luggage, onboard experience, I'm just happy to support them whenever I can afford to fly with them. And the last sort of the dimension is, emotionally earned and purposeful. Sometimes, or I'm calling it a soulmate, right? It's very unique, but they do exist. It's becoming almost like a cult. I would say Apple or Harley Davidson might be a great example. And I never considered myself as a strong Apple supporter, for instance, until I looked around my apartment and saw all the devices from them. So why am I talking about it, right? So the importance of the dimension is that every single person is unique, and same brands displayed here might appear in a different quadrant for a different person. So it is a bit extreme example, but relevant to any brand, because this is how your brand is most likely perceived by consumers. So it is not about you and what you think about your brand and loyalty program. It is really about a customer, and a really important thing is to understand that there is no universal loyalty. Essentially, it goes down to a paid and earned loyalty. And in my opinion, both are equally important and will coexist. But as you can see here, and I cannot agree more with the statement, the future belongs to those brands who can really earn it. And this is a time for you to look ahead to the future. And I think it's really important to remember that we have faced crises in the past and will face them again in the future. And if you let your customers know how important they are to you, by keeping their interests first and foremost, you will be rewarded by customers' loyalty, even though you might be taking a short-term hit to your bottom, especially, putting flexible refund pricing, change policies in place, or finding other ways to help your customers through the crisis. It will be beneficial to the long-term health of your company. For a future change, the right technology, and that's why we're here, right, the Antavo and Salesforce, the right technology in place is becoming fundamental, as you need an ability to respond to all demographic changes, new ways of consumption through digital channels, data privacy, GDPR, and any other external factors affecting your markets. And the question really is, what does the future of loyalty look like, and how can you get better? And here I will hand it over to Jörn and Andy from the Antavo, the loyalty expert, and they will walk you through the future of the loyalty and the best practices, how to actually use the technology and build your loyalty management programs. So Jörn, over to you.
Thank you, Michal. I hope you can all hear me. It's always a great exercise, actually, to go back and look at yourself as a customer, to get an insight into the behavior that your customers are actually displaying. I did the similar exercise about my loyalty card just a little while back. Actually managed to get to 14. Not that I actually used more than you. It was about 2 or 3 as well. Anyway, I will take the next 10 minutes to illustrate the framework that we've developed at Antavo to give you an insight into how you can get that customer behavior that you want, that Michal showed. How can you get to that top right quadrant to have that emotional and very meaningful relationship from your customers, with your customers? So how can you achieve it? What are the principles in loyalty and loyalty programs that you need to apply to get there? Before Andy will then take the next section to give you really hands-on examples on how our platform can actually bring that to life. So as Michal said, there are a number of drivers, but ultimately it comes from your customers, because it's the customer behavior that you want to change. And customers have recently changed. As Michal said, the drivers are, generational. They're coming from political environment. They're also coming from a technological shift. But what they want today, their attitudes have changed, and you need to think about it, and you need to reflect it. So the first one is what they do. Customers are increasingly willing to invest time, and they're increasingly looking for curated information to make their decisions. What does that mean for you as a loyalty program provider, or as a brand trying to engender loyalty in your customers, is that you have to really look at every single touch point. That's how you can define loyalty. Every touch point a customer has with you is an expression or a moment to drive loyalty. What do customers want? It's shifting away from money. It's shifting towards experience. It's shifting towards trust. That's what customers increasingly look for in brands. And again, in the loyalty program, you need to reflect that by being really relevant, being really rewarding, and being really unique. As Michal said, the discount points don't cut it anymore. Now, actually, very recently, a new dimension has appeared. There's an update driven by what's happening currently in the COVID situation. Customers are forming new habits right now. I saw a statistic this morning on LinkedIn that the penetration of e-commerce in retail as a channel in the US has made the same leap in the last 8 weeks as it did in the 10 years before. So it kind of doubled in 10 years, and it's increased by the same percentage points in the last 8 weeks. That's just crazy, this level of speed. And they're forming their habits right now, so you need to get in that game. They're your guests. New customers that have come to you are your guests today, and they're going to decide whether they stay with you over the coming months. And the customers that you used to have, but they're currently not with you, due to the situation, they're guests elsewhere, and they're going to make that same decision. So it's time to act. Now, let's bring it back to loyalty, to the broader topic. It's actually a complicated picture when you look out there into the market and what the statistics say. On the one hand, you see a lot of data and statements that customers are no longer brand loyal. New generations, millennials, are not loyal. On the other hand, you see the same amount of statistics and statements that say loyalty is actually getting stronger. And there are some really impressive statistics here. 77% of customers retract their loyalty quickly. At the same time, 83% of customers consider themselves more loyal than their parents. So how does that come together? Like, what's the point in here? And I think it's nicely summed up in this statistic. 78% of millennials actually say that brands have to work harder today to earn loyalty. So both of those statistics are true. Some retract, others get stronger, but only to those brands that actually deliver the loyalty experience that customers are looking for. Now, what does that mean for this slightly narrower topic of loyalty programs? Well, similar picture here. You can't live with them. You can't live without them. Again, customers claim that the programs don't engender loyalty. They have negative connotation to loyalty. But loyalty programs can also have a really positive effect on brand behavior, on purchasing behavior, and on customer behavior. Customers want brands to have loyalty programs. And again, I think the conclusion comes into it's just essential that you have the right type of loyalty program. Because not any old loyalty program is gonna drive behavioral change. So here at Antavo, we have actually thought about what is that right type, because it's our business, and we want to build a platform, a software that allows you to develop that right type of loyalty program. And it's the right type of program if it's the right type of program for your customers. So we saw that the customers have changed, and it means where loyalty used to play, Loyalty 1.0, those cards that you saw at the very beginning of this webinar, that give you points for spend, that gives you financial rewards, and that are really more or less one size fits all. They have to evolve into what we call Loyalty 3.0, or actually recognition loyalty. It's a framework we developed. I'm only going to go to the high level of it. You can come to our website. There's a lot more resources about what that means and what that means for different industries. In a nutshell, though, at the core, we do understand that financial benefits are still going to be really essential for loyalty programs. That traditional loyalty core is going to stay. It's there to stay. But you have to support it and surround it with the things that customers are increasingly looking for today. There's the element of what engagement and what type of action should you reward. And the answer is any and all. Loyalty is telling your friends about a brand. Loyalty is sharing a product review. Loyalty is queuing in front of a store when the new iPhone comes out. I'm also an Apple loyalist. Loyalty is consuming your content, which is educating yourself about the brand. All of that is loyalty. Incentivize it. The second dimension, someone has moved the slide away. The second dimension is about the type of incentives or the type of rewards that you're giving to your customers. And we have to evolve from just giving discounts and financial rewards. We actually do want to break the discount cycle, right? So reward customers with what they're looking for: service, experience, emotional rewards. That's the kind of stuff that builds that emotional loyalty that we're all aiming for. That's not transactional. Customers will forgive you if they're emotionally connected to you. So build those into your loyalty program. And then the final one is go beyond one size fits all. It's got to be tailored. It's got to be tailored to your customers' preferences. I named it here value focus because it's about the values that you as a brand represent and that customers are looking for in you as a brand. So align those values and you'll build this really strong bond. Understand that sounds quite simple on a spreadsheet, on a PowerPoint sheet. What's really essential is that you have to have two things that help you build that. The first one is data. Data. You cannot give a customer something that's tailored. You cannot incentivize all sorts of engagement if you don't know about them and if you can't track them. So you got to really collect all that customer behavior. You got to understand what they want, understand what they do. And then you have to be able to deliver that. And delivering it via loyalty mechanics, that's partly our software, but it's also the structure of the program about expiration rules, how you actually bring it to the customer so that he can immerse himself into that loyalty program that you built. And I'm going to take the next slide in the next section to give you 4 real important principles when you design a loyalty program. And they're stemming from that recognition loyalty. So as I said, you got to understand your customers. That means you have to make sure you can identify them at every single interaction. Whether they're following you on social media, they're posting image of your products on Instagram, whether they're coming into your stores, coming into your restaurants, you got to know that they're there. So make it really, really simple and make it really rewarding for customers to identify themselves. Second part is emotional loyalty. When we look at rewards, you got to decrease the focus on discounts. That's just too expensive. You want people to even be proud to pay the little extra to get your product, just like we know people do with Apple. So build in on the reward element things that are not about discount. Experiences, things that people can remember, things that people can share. It's very much about service and about being personalized. The third principle here is about more than just the rewards. It's about how and where you can deliver these experiences. And we'll see on the slide in a second, the customers really are appreciating an omni-channel experience. And that's still true even in the current COVID situation. And we'll see to what degree and how it's going to be different, but it's still true. And that omni-channel then allows you to also create more meaningful touch points. We are all overwhelmed with the noise in our inbox and with the brand messages. So touch points have to be meaningful to be recognized and to be noticed and to be remembered. A bit of data to support my theory here about customer identification. Statistics, 2 things here. The first one is customers spend 2 months, a bit more, gathering information online, in-store, on average, before they make a purchasing decision. And if I couple that with the fact that over 1/3 of Amazon's revenue comes from the 2 features of frequently bought together and customers who bought this also bought. If you understand your customers, if you see when and what they're researching, and if you can give them, based on that, really good recommendations, that's highly valuable, but highly complicated. Let's look at the second part, fighting the discount culture. I've just put together some statistics on Black Friday. I don't think they're going to surprise you. Actually, I thought 98% of all purchases during Black Friday discounted was higher than I thought. And over 2/3 of those had a discount of more than 30%. So it's somewhat crazy, but we've trained our customers to experience this or to expect this. But on the flip side, again, 2/3 of your customers say they will actually pay more if they get a great experience. Maybe not on Black Friday, but there's a willingness to pay. And an example from one of our programs, what we have here is the LVR Sneakers Club. This is a club that gives you access to limited edition sneakers, and customers have to pay loyalty points for that. And within a couple of months after launch, this has become the second most popular reward category. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's not a discount. It's just an exclusive access to something. This is an idea of how you can get out of that discount cycle. Omnichannel experience. On the left side, pre-COVID, on the right side, post-COVID, the offline experience is key. Over 90% of customers say that the omnichannel experience is important or critical. And it's not a surprise that the biggest e-commerce giant is moving into physical retail. Amazon's bought Whole Foods, and they're experimenting with the Amazon Go shops. McKinsey is actually operating a retail store in the Mall of America to understand that whole channel and how that can be used to drive customer lifetime value, really. And COVID obviously is throwing a bit of a spanner in the works here, but all we can say right now is the behavior and the preferences will change to the degree of how that omnichannel experience should be delivered, not necessarily to the degree that if it should be delivered. So it's very important, it's very topical, and it's a very good moment to differentiate in the omnichannel experience. Final point, meaningful touch points. I said it before, we all have, I don't know, I show in a physical session like this, I usually show my phone, and you can see that I have 10,000 unopened emails. We're exposed to 360 brand messages every day. Very few people consider all their emails useful, and the vast majority of customers don't trust traditional advertising. What we find is that communication in a loyalty program is different because it's relevant and because it's valuable, because people appreciate the benefits and a well-designed loyalty program to the degree that they're listening to you again, whereas it's really difficult to get their attention outside of a loyalty program. So summary of that, recognition loyalty goes beyond creating those little bursts of financial happiness. It increases the customer engagement level through those micro conversions, through those touch points, through those moments where you can engage outside of the buying cycle. And as a result, it really drives up customer lifetime value. And with that said, I end the theoretical part, and I'll hand over to Andy, who will show you real examples of how we bring that to life with our platform.
Perfect. Thank you, Jörn. I had some technical troubles. I hope that you will be able to see it now. We didn't develop the software, neither Salesforce developed the webinar software. So if my team can confirm if you guys can see the slides, that would be super helpful. Until I get the confirmation, I'm just going to keep talking. So Michal and Jörn have mentioned lots of interesting facts, and now I'm going to focus on 4 most important things that we see as a huge challenge across the industry. I will talk about how other marketers like you experience these problems, and then I'm going to showcase inspiration from brands we work with, how they solve these challenges. So my aim is not only to inspire you, but also show you some actionable insights that you can twist to use cases that will be relevant and applicable for you. Let's start with how to collect customer data. Every one of us that know that Desktop didn't start their Club Card program to build customer loyalty, rather to capture customer information and target their customers with personalized offers. Loyalty is a data play, and if you are an omnichannel marketer who is looking to launch a loyalty program, your number 1 KPI should be to increase your contactable database with a loyalty program. We were actually shocked how many retailers still don't try to collect customer information or just put a paper-based signed form like this next to the cashier. We can face it, so collecting customer information this way was just a pure customer experience before 2020, but after COVID, the whole loyalty program enrollment process should be seamless, frictionless, and also digital. So the past few months have proved that retail must not wait for a global crisis like a health pandemic to prioritize customer experience and loyalty. No retailer can predict what the future of the customer engagement will look like, and the key takeaway should be that retail brands should innovate and try out new techniques that will excite their customers as well. So what does the change in customer needs, digitalization trends, and COVID mean for you? First of all, COVID will speed up the digital transformation of loyalty programs that was already happening before. We are entering into a touchless society, and loyalty program enrollment shall be seamless and touchless as well. But every crisis holds its opportunities. We think that painful experience where you need to get out your physical loyalty card from your wallet will be actually replaced by digital loyalty cards sitting in your wallet application, mobile application, or even in WeChat. It is a short step for these mobile-based loyalty cards to become wallets that also pay, introducing a one-step pay and earn points tap of the phone, as Apple Pay have already implemented this with Woolworths, for example. That's still 2 taps, but at least 1 device. So you don't need to leave your device. It's going to be especially important moving forward. This means for the customer less fast, less steps, and less to remember when collecting loyalty points, while shopping, and of course less friction as well. Also, I wanted to highlight, and we see this from our customers, that new technologies will also emerge. I would like to start with card linking, as definitely one of the ones that you should keep an eye on. By enabling customers to link their payment cards, this is typically done online to their loyalty account. Vendors allow customers to take part in the retailer's program, earn, accumulate, and redeem points and promotional offers without actually presenting a separate loyalty card at the point of sale. Using their linked card in the retailer is enough to earn and redeem with no fuss. Importantly for these retailers, there is no need to integrate with the point of sale system. We see that it's a huge bottleneck of any loyalty project to integrate to the POS. No IT implications needed either. Loyalty platform providers like us receive notification from integrated card linking providers like Fidel that are integrated with Amex, MasterCard, or Visa, that the registered card was used in the retailer and the transaction amount as well. This triggers updates to credit loyalty and payment accounts as well. No physical cards are issued, offering a further cost saving for you as a retailer, and there is an obvious downside that besides transaction amount, you won't get SKU level data with this solution. NFC is another interesting use case, how retailers are utilizing NFC to speed up touchless enrollment, and what sounded impossible a couple of years ago, facial recognition can gain popularity as well to identify customers at a retailer. It's really important that the enrollment experience should be fun and no-brainer for the customer, and if you can think of ways how it can be integral part of the customer experience, not to break the customer experience that you have with your customers, you will remove sources of dissatisfaction, and you will hopefully shine. Mobile wallets are native applications that everyone has on their iPhone and Android smartphones on their wallet application. The nice thing about these wallets is that you don't need to download a separate mobile application, and it will give you the possibility to engage with your customers by digital membership card, and also you can send them event invites or coupon codes. Obviously, it doesn't replace mobile application, which you can provide the best customer experience among your digital channels, but the barrier of entry to get a mobile wallet in your customer's smartphone is really low. So how does the experience look like with the mobile wallet solution? You can put a QR code in your restaurants, retail stores to incentivize enrollment, and from this QR code, you can direct your customers to a landing page where they can sign up and they can instantly get their mobile pass triggered to their smartphone. You can identify customers in store by scanning their digital loyalty cards with a POS scanner. It's a great way to also connect your customers' online and in-store purchases, and that also enables you to create a single view of your customers in your CRM or marketing automation platform. One of my favorite use cases to utilize the mobile wallet is an innovative way coming from one of our largest online electronics retailers in the CE region. This is Air Digital, who wanted to give their customers a seamless in-store experience. With the mobile wallet solution, loyalty members who have chosen to pick up their orders in the store enjoy a fast lane service experience. The next example I wanted to show you is an example how a retailer like Jimmy John's, who is one of the largest footwear retailers in the U.S., utilizes NFC. Last year, Apple opened up their NFC capabilities to third-party developers, and this gave us a huge push to create a physical product to innovate loyalty program enrollment that actually debuted in NRF in New York earlier this year. With this solution, customers can sign up to the loyalty program in the store with NFC. The enrollment can happen touchless on the customer's smartphone. During the enrollment process, thanks to our Apple partnership, the customer information is pre-filled on the wallet that Apple stores on the customer, and all the customer needs to do is to give an active consent that they want to participate in the loyalty program, and boom, that they are already in, and they don't need to fill out lengthy registration process. After the enrollment process finishes, the customer gets the digital membership card trigger to the wallet. Another cool example is coming from SimpleBee from the Embran Group, and I would like to focus on in here how to improve customer experience without offering discounts. The Embran Group from the UK offers loyalty members personalized rewards in order to suit their buying preferences and loyalty program behavior, like taking into account social media engagement and refer a friend campaign participation in the customer score in their decisioning engine. It's a pretty cool example of how a brand fights against the discount culture by giving different types of rewards based on the customer life cycle. So, for example, discount-led customers still can get discounts. So they don't want to change because it's a key to get first-time customers to make their second and third purchase. By VIPs, who are really loyal get experiential type of rewards. So, for example, if you are a Salesforce customer, you can see if the customer happiness level is low, and then Antavo can trigger a reward based on this information to increase the happiness level of the customer. And of course, the most common one, if the customer is likely to churn, it can get a reward to try to win them back. Another cool example is coming from two of our customers who are doing a great job on being true to their brand and purposes through rewards and charity donations. BrewDog has started to produce hand sanitizers, and Anina Bing were sending complimentary masks with their orders when mask supplies were low that increased their online orders dramatically. Another cool example is coming from the UK. And as we know that retail faces multiple challenges these days, so it's crucial to drive foot traffic to bring back customers to the store and also to make data-driven digital omnichannel experiences. One of my favorite examples how to have to bridge the gap between the online and offline channels is done at one of the AB InBev's group's company called Beerhawk. They use our mobile wallet solution that is integrated to Apple Wallet and Android Pay, so customers don't need to use physical loyalty cards to identify themselves in their bars. And then the identification happens by showcasing their digital loyalty cards in their smartphones. The bartenders can immediately see what's the favorite beer, so they can recommend something personalized for them, or, for example, remind them if they have left something in their online cart if they want to try that out while they are in the bar. The next example is focusing on creating omnichannel experiences. It's important to go where your customers are, and chatbots are a great tool to onboard customers to your loyalty program. In this example, what we are doing with a really cool agency, Mito, Libero, the diaper brand, incentivized customers to upload QR codes from products purchased through their retail partners that provides them purchase information with SKU-level data as well. After the customer uploads a coupon code, they incentivize UGC with asking the customer to upload the pets and participate in a photo contest by uploading a tagged photo on Instagram with the campaign's hashtag. We tried to upload a GIF for you. Unfortunately, it's not working. I will ask our team to follow up with you and send it to you. It's pretty cool on how it looks like in a short video. The last challenge I would like to talk about is a great example of how to tackle with not having enough meaningful touch points that you mentioned in the previous section. A gamified loyalty program based around incentivizing all kinds of non-transactional interactions, challenges, or brand initiatives is a great way to drive repeat behavior that helps you to touch into your customers' lifestyle and keep them engaged and loyal. This Instagram contest example comes from Misguided, where participants can win stylish outfits for their weekend Zoom dates with their friends if they participate in the Instagram contest that Misguided is hosting. The last example I want to show you is a great example of how you can change customer behavior through incentivizing different actions through the program. And this comes from Jimmy Jazz as well. They reward all types of customer interactions like filling out profiling information, like size information, favorite brands, birthday information, sharing their favorite products with their friends on Messenger or WhatsApp, or they even reward mobile app downloads. These are great tactics to drive foot traffic and also to drive website visits and incentivize customers to share their favorite products to build credibility through word of mouth. This was my section, and we are going to continue with Victoria on how the data from the loyalty program can be utilized in Salesforce.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. That was super insightful. Can you guys hear me well?
Perfectly.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, that was super insightful, Andy. It's really interesting to understand the use cases behind some of the loyalty schemes that we all use. For example, I'm a big Misguided loyal fan, so it's interesting to understand what goes behind it. For the next section, we're going to be talking about a big elephant in the room, I believe, which is how to actually measure that everything that Michal, Andy, and Jorn have been speaking about is actually working. So for that, we're going to be talking about how to really merge customer experience with growth and how you do that through marketing intelligence. I think it's more than obvious that most people that are in this call today think of customer experience and loyalty as their day-to-day bread and butter. And, I think more than ever, it's the responsibility of marketeers in these crazy times to really begin to optimize their marketing budgets and also start to maximize ROI to really drive that growth, right? So we know that you guys are already doing a fantastic job with that customer experience and with some examples of those use cases that Andy has brought up today, right? So that second layer is where we really begin to see marketeers are moving more and more towards. So how can I actually measure what's working and what isn't? And in fact, we ran a marketing intelligence report in 2019, in which Salesforce asked 150 CMOs of all over the world what their key priorities were for 2020. And everybody, most CMOs, I think it was 96% of CMOs agreed that the key focus for marketeers in 2020 was around proving that everything that they'd been doing so far was actually working and driving that ROI for the organization. So, we've talked about how to agree to drive an amazing customer experience and how you're going to push that with a loyalty program. Now we just need to focus on how we're actually going to prove that and how we're going to measure ROI. So for that, Salesforce solution is around marketing intelligence. So in this slide, you'll see what you probably recognize as your marketing organization. So this is, the challenge that we see very often with CMOs. And the reality is that, you guys have a lot of marketing data, which is great, but that data is trapped in silos, which means that it's not very easy for us to surface insights and to activate that data back into the likes of our loyalty and our customer experience strategy, right? So as you'll see, you'll have data trapped in the likes of your social strategy, you'll have data on your CRM and your loyalty program, you'll have data with programmatic. And what we see a lot is that our customers, and you'll know this if you've dealt with the pain of reporting, is that our customers are trying to push that data, which is currently siloed, into the likes of Excel or Power BI. The problem is that when doing that, we are ignoring the fact that that data doesn't have the same measurements, it doesn't have the same dimensions. So what Salesforce suggests is marketing intelligence. So really, before we even try to visualize that data and understand what works from a CX or a loyalty perspective, we need to make sure that we've connected and unified that data. So first and foremost, we need to create a data model. So going back to Jorn's point about data being super important, yes, it is, but we need to make sure that we have connected it and made sense of it. And then once we've done that, we can begin to do really, really smart things with that data, right? So one of the things that you could do with that data is visualize it so that you can begin to understand how is my loyalty program affecting the rest of my marketing strategy, the likes of my paid social or, even my offline events. How is that working? The second layer is around beginning to be able to ask AI specific questions around my data. So how can I decrease key KPIs like my CPC or my CPM? And the third layer is, taking one step forward and not even, just looking at how can I visualize and understand that data, but really begin to activate that data back into our day-to-day with automated rules. So, we really see this as the key defining differentiator between companies that are delivering best practices in the industry and the ones that aren't. I'm going to be sharing with you guys an example of what that marketing intelligence strategy could look like for loyalty. So hopefully you guys. Yeah?
No, not yet. No.
Okay. I will wait 1 second. Apologies. As Andy was saying, this is not our software. It's quite confusing. It's the first time some of us are using it. So I'll give it a second for the screen to load. Michal, if you could let me know when it's loaded.
They can see it, Victoria. We got a confirmation.
Perfect. Fantastic. So this is an example of how, a retailer could activate marketing intelligence to unify their marketing strategy with their loyalty performance, right? So in here, what we've done is unified that marketing strategy and that Antavo loyalty into one single source of truth, so that as a retailer or as a company that is pushing for loyalty, you can really begin to see how this is resonating with the rest of your marketing spend. So I actually went ahead and created this visualization. And for me, as a visual person, the first thing I want to do is very quickly understand how my key KPIs are working. So I can begin to see, what are the key number of loyalty members that I have and how are those drilled down into different categories. You can begin to also see, how AI is embedded into marketing intelligence, which is giving you answers as to how you're growing month on month, and if there is, some KPIs that you need to look out for, like in this example, you're getting a little bit of churn, not too much, but maybe it's something to look out for. I can also look at things like my loyalty breakdown, and also how that is trending over time. But when it really begins to be very exciting, in my opinion, is when we link that loyalty that we can get from the likes of Antavo with our marketing strategy, right? And I can begin to drill down into, how is my loyalty affecting my key channels? So I can look at enrollment sources, what is that customer spend looking like, and then also ask specific questions to my data around how I can improve that loyalty scheme. So I can look at, how is that loyalty program working on my email, for example. So in this case, I asked marketing intelligence how I can improve my conversion rate, and we very quickly identified an audience and specific email subject that performed really well. So really the point of me showing you this visualization is to highlight the importance of unifying that loyalty engagement and that loyalty program with Antavo with the likes of the rest of your paid and organic strategy, so that you can really begin to understand your customer and begin to understand your marketing strategy and where you're driving ROI. And just to finalize, we have put together a slide, with the key takeaways from today's presentation. For me, it's really about understanding that there's 3 key elements to a successful loyalty scheme. Firstly, obviously, you have to have an amazing loyalty partner like Antavo, which is going to identify the what and the who. For me, the key 3 takeaways from today was, firstly, let's start to move away from, a discount culture and begin to move into, I begin to understand my customer culture. Secondly, it's imperative that you begin to connect offline with online. Oh, sorry, I have to stop sharing my screen. I hope you guys can see my slides now. It's imperative that, you can begin to connect offline with online data to really begin to, again, understand who is that loyal customer. And then finally, you really need to begin to add meaningful touch points if you want that true personalization. That's going to give you the what and the who. And then from the other side, from the marketing perspective, we really need to begin to identify the how and the when, right? So it's really about having that 360-degree view of your customer and beginning to do slow but effective automation and one-to-one interactions with your customer. And, as cliche as it sounds, it is about, communicating with your customer at the right time with the right moment. And all of this is made more effective, and you're able to measure this better if you have a marketing intelligence tool that can measure and connect those 2 technologies together to really begin to give you that view on what I'm spending and what is actually working, that is going to prove growth and ROI back to your business. And that is it for today. So we're going to move it on to the live Q&A. I've seen some very exciting questions for the Antavo team. So we're going to move it on to the questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Great insight as well. So we've got a last 10 minutes, and let's look into some of the questions. We do have quite a lot, to be honest, so we will not be able to answer all of them live. But here is the one, and I will read it out from Marco. if you had to build from zero a loyalty program with a new product that hasn't been launched yet, what would be the first step? I think Andy, or can you comment on this? It's quite an interesting question.
It's a question of,
if you don't mind,
strategic perspective. I think it's Jörn is the best. From technology perspective, I can answer. Jörn, I think you can start.
Let me start a little bit. And if the product isn't live, it's actually, I think it's a good opportunity because you're not going to be tempted to offer discounts for purchases only. You have to obviously engage your customers in a different way. And I think at this point in the life cycle of, it depends. I'm assuming it's a new product with a new company that hasn't been launched yet. That you have the opportunity to engage, like say, your early adopter audience, and I would work with content and exclusive access, maybe get them even involved with feedback into the product development to try to build like an advocate base, and you can use those guys to spread the word, incentivize that, and have them on board early on, and they're the ones that are most willing to give you that emotional engagement. So I think that would be my first step strategically, and kind of then prepare for a gradual expansion of that program.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Andy, I don't know, do you have anything to add, or you?
I think we can go to the next question.
Okay. Perfect. So here is a quick one. So which Salesforce clouds does Antavo integrate with? So maybe I can quickly comment here. What we're talking about is the Antavo with Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So as Victoria summed up during the last slide, this is basically the combination really to integrate with the loyalty management program, and the Salesforce marketing platform helps to execute the communication. So, but I believe that this is not the only sort of part of our platform that the Antavo is integrated with. I don't know, Andy, can you comment on this as well?
Sure. So we do have integration with all these three platforms that Salesforce offers. So we have integrations besides Salesforce Marketing Cloud with Service Cloud and also with Commerce Cloud.
Perfect. Thank you. So let's get another one. You guys asking if we're gonna share the slides as well. I believe yes, and so does your tool work on a global level, and can local differences be integrated? So from the Salesforce perspective, absolutely yes. Obviously, on the one-to-one we can go into the details, but we have brands and companies all around the world. As I said myself, I'm covering particularly CE region. We do have a lot of customers there as well. So yes, Antavo guys.
It's the same for us. So we have a multilingual and multi-currency environment as well. So global brands can launch loyalty programs seamlessly in their countries, either in one brand, and they can then scale up pretty fast. So the ease of management is much seamless, or they can do it on a country level as well if they have country-based operations. So it's pretty flexible to accommodate the need of the customer.
Yep.
Perfect.
Michal, if you allow me a second, actually, it's connected to a second question. Just want to cover that very briefly. That was what we would recommend actually for multinational brands: one program or for all markets or local adaptations. And just there isn't a standard answer to this. One of our most successful clients has a global, like one size fits all global program. Others adapted locally. I think you have to ask yourself the question: if your brand is consistent across these nationalities or these local markets, and if your customers are similar across these local markets, ultimately the program needs to fit what your brand stands for. So I'm thinking, for example, like a Heineken, who is perceived as a real luxury premium beer brand in several markets, but is perceived as kind of the everyday cheaper beer in other markets. You should adapt that program into the national situation and settings to be able to influence your customers properly.
Perfect. Thank you very much for answering that. Can see there is one from Gabrielle. Do you have any experience with a client in a movie industry after COVID? They are facing big challenges, engage, retain, and win their customers. That's very, very good question, and Gabrielle, you're 100% right. Again, from the Salesforce perspective, yes, we do actually work a lot with the media and entertainment industry. It's to be honest, like to answer sort of after COVID is that they're facing the challenges. Are they still trying to engage 100%? But yeah, like we do work with them, but obviously the COVID situation is changing their approach as well. But I believe it's even more in terms of sort of the streaming rights and where actually to be present, because if you can't open your movie theater, that's really less you can do. I don't know, again, Antavo team, do you have an experience from the let's say media entertainment industry?
Jörn, do you want to take this?
Yeah, so let's say not directly where we are involved in developing program strategy. We do work with similar industries that have similar challenges, so we have quite active program development or consulting work with the restaurant industry, who are kind of also challenged by digital business models, so home delivery, cooking boxes that are penetrating into their market. So movie industry similarly, movie theaters similarly, that they're on a transition, they're on a journey where it became more from the movie to becoming the experience. So being in a movie theater, it's no longer good enough to have the movie and the chair. It's got to be a whole experience in there. So this transition will accelerate. And again, so their pressure is going to be in their loyalty programs. They have to differentiate even more from discounts into giving something that money can buy to get people out of the house. You just have to make that extra effort.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I think we have time to take probably one or two more. There is a question from Felix. The question is, big company with a traditional loyalty program, what is your advice for a seamless transformation customer point of view? Andy, Jörn, I think it can be quite interesting to get your point of view.
Sure. So how we usually approach this is basically take what's the most important KPIs that they want to achieve with the revamped loyalty program, and basically build an MVP approach, a gradual program where we try to solve the KPIs that the customers are that the client wants to solve. So it's really like the experience from the customer perspective should be seamless. And what I think is really important, and it's more like a strategic question, but basically they shouldn't feel that we are taking away something that they had before. So the perception should be that the new program will actually give much powerful benefits, and that's where experiential type of rewards can come in handy, because these rewards can actually help to elevate the program to the next level, and customers will be excited by them. Felix, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. And maybe I asked you actually a question to audience at the very beginning. So how many loyalty program in average is per person? Some of them, thank you very much. You actually typed your guesses, and we had the range between 25, 12, 30. So according actually to our research, what we did recently at Salesforce, it's the 14 loyalty program per person. So you were very close. I was almost there with mine, what I found 11. And so that's the answer. We are reaching the time. We will not have a time to answer more questions, but don't worry. We will try to follow up with your particular question on one-to-one and answer. And please, if you are interested in learning more, just visit the Salesforce Trailhead, which is the learning platform that you can get more information, and same for the Antavo's website. And obviously you will get our contact details. and you can follow up with us on a one-to-one basis. So thank you very much again for your participation. Thank you, Antavo team, to have us here, and I wish you a very pleasant day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for your time.